Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Happy Gatty Crypto here and diving into a very positive update. So we've got a new Agora text up and this is the route everybody should take when putting a proposal up. So before we dive into this, there's a lot of people who are more or less saying, why haven't you voted on this proposal yet? Why haven't you voted on this proposal and that proposal? And I simply want to say to people that a proposal is up for a specific amount of time, and you need anybody who's voting straight away is not weighing out the pros and cons, and they're definitely not doing their own research. So understand that some validators like ourselves, we decide to take considerate amount of time looking into everything, but we will be voting yes to the repeal of the reminting, which will reduce it down to 10%. So I'll be putting that through shortly after this video. So we've got a joint L1 task force. In recognition of the maintenance updates for the required Luna Classic blockchain, I propose that Luna Classic community contacts several experienced blockchain developers to complete the required updates to upgrade and stabilize the L1 layer. At the height of Terra, Terraform Labs had a team of 6 to 8 senior L1 blockchain developers. With this level of support, developers could focus on innovation in addition to security and maintenance. Given our current situation, as well as severe budget constraints, I'm proposing that we budget to hire the equivalent of 3 full-time L1 blockchain developers to focus on primarily essential maintenance upgrades to be completed in the next 4 to 6 months. Upon the successful stability upgrades, the development team would transition to more innovative and long-term advancements. The proposed team of individuals would be 3 members of the community that have significantly contributed to the L1 layer in the past 7 months. Tobias, Ed, and Till, with invaluable contributions from Notional Labs, Jacob Gallican's group. The concrete L1 developers delivered in part or whole by this team include re-enabling staking, re-enable delegations, parameterized on-chain burn tax, re-enable IBCs and Dragonberry exploit patch, additional support on parameter change updates, relay CEX coordination, innovative chain proposals, and community educational materials have also been delivered by these individuals in close collaboration with Notional Labs recommendation. So you've got here set out in January 2023, establish a process and product backlog for L1 team, establish a community oversight committee for this L1 team with trusted third parties, PFC, DJ Trev, Strafe Cole. Assess the possibility of introducing upgrade handlers to utilize software upgrades, governance proposals. Assess the state of current version map and determine how it can be patched to reflect the current state of our system. Continue working on the Genesis import problem to maintain a fallback strategy if version map cannot be patched. Adjust anti-handler to 50% of the burn tax to the community pool and 50% to the treasury burn wallet. Test upgrade estimate fees client logic LCD in auth model to ensure burn tax is calculated correctly. Test upgrade IBC denom whitelist. Propose governance for no canonical GIT repo. Test push and upgrade testnet with version 1.05. And then the same again further on with that. And then you've got, moving on to February, investigate the PebbleDB BadgerDB for speed improvements to the backend, discontinue support for, I'm not even going to say it's Goldveil B, and then Rock SDB. And then transition to IAVL fastnode via 0194, implement upgrade handlers to utilize software upgrades, governance proposals. As you can see, folks, this is a very well put together proposal, and it's really outlining what's going to be going on in the first kind of months of 2023, and what I hope to see is a more serious 2023 for Luna Classic and people taking a more serious look at it, because all the jokes and fun and everything, it's been funny up until this point of where it actually affects like quite a lot of us. So really happy to see who's been put on the team here, and we can see down here, I've read through this and I've been going over it whilst I was at work earlier today. The requested budget is going to come to around 150k, and that's going to be the equivalent of 3 full-time developers. It's really good. in fact, it's actually quite cheap for what they're getting, for what we're getting for that period of time. What I hope is everybody's going to read through. The reason why I read the first quarter and a little bit further is to give people an idea to actually read into these things, because they do have a lot of interesting stuff. I'm not going to read the rest because it allows people to kind of be lazy and listen to somebody else's voice instead of actually going through and processing the information and then going, what's this, what's that? And then obviously having to go away, Google stuff, come back, understand it a little bit better. The situation we have now is what happens with Terra Rebels, what happens with Rebel Station, and what happens with everything like that. Hopefully they're going to get the canonical repository for the current Terra Station legacy, because Station's coming out soon, which turns Terra Station into legacy. But there's going to be upgrades for the interchain system. Compatibility with interchain is 100% needed for a very bright future for Lunar Classic when looking at it as part of a cosmos, because the reason why Terra did so well was because it was so well integrated into the cosmos by using a stablecoin, an algorithmic stablecoin to be precise, and that really set Lunar aside at the time. So joining the interchain compatibility list and then trying to set ourselves aside again is going to be key for our future. So what you would like to see now is every single thing that we have to pay for outlined down to an absolute T. So you can see here you've got the total budget requested, and you've literally got everything you need in this proposal to make a solid decision as to, do we want to fund this? Now, the way I see this is we've just funded the past 8 months worth of work for around $150,000, which mostly went to a Discord server, which went to just answering the same questions over and over and over and over and over again, and getting into this kind of feedback loop of not actually getting anywhere, but just constantly going over ideas, different ideas, and so many people driving the steering wheel. With a core team looking at it the way that they are looking at it from TFL side, is having a 6 to 8 team of senior L1 blockchain developers is absolutely key to being able to get on with things, not having too many people on the steering wheel, and it's just not going to work. Anybody's able to create their own task force, and if they want to produce work for Lunar Classic, then they can. And this is kind of why I say, well, what will happen to Terra Rebels? Because they're definitely going to be still producing work, because they've been paid to produce the Rebel Station wallet and everything that came within that funding. And from what I'm hearing, they're going to produce that. So this is where it kind of raises questions as to, slight pause there, right? As to what team do we actually want to fund? Who do we want to be working on the things that we need to have fixed and solving all of the problems that are currently there and currently to hand? So we're talking about this, and even now, I'm not saying to you we'll be voting yes on this, because I need to discuss this with our team. I want to go over things. I want to ensure that everything that's being said in here is correct, and I hope everybody else does the same, because the biggest thing right now, and I know a lot of people are angry and I know a lot of people are mad, but you voted for it. Okay, so every single validator on here that voted yes, okay, voted for this to happen. So all of the people that voted for this to happen, what we're seeing is you're not quite getting what a proposal is going to lead to, and then suddenly going, well, actually, we don't like this. But realistically, if we have so recently you've seen a no with a veto coming through from some of the top validators on the repealing of the reminting and stuff like that. And it's just weird to see that, why would you no with a veto something that's clearly not a scam? Even if you don't like the person, don't no with a veto it unless it's a scam, because you're going to lead to that person losing their coins. Who wants to lose just under $1 million Lunar Classic on a proposal that they wholeheartedly put together? No one does. And it's not going to incentivize people to then come forward with different ideas that they've got in fear that they'll get no with a veto, they'll lose their money, and it's just not the right kind of environment we want. So it's the same with these witch hunts. I always like to think of like, what evidence do we have to prove everything right now? Well, we don't, and it's kind of just a mad witch hunt. We voted for this as a community, and we kind of need to allow it all to play out. So I am very confused, but at the same time, I get it. A lot of people did vote no for this. A lot of people just didn't vote, and a lot of people were just not part of the community, so they just don't get it because they're sitting from a CEX perspective where they've just bought the coin and they're hoping it's going to go up, and they don't really know there's this huge vibrant community that's very outspoken, and you've got all these different factions and stuff like that. Guys, have a very Merry Christmas. We'll be doing our Lunar Classic burn tomorrow. That's our monthly burn from the validators node, so I'll be posting that video at some point during the day tomorrow. Other than that, have a really nice festive season, and I'll catch you in the next one. Remember, none of this is financial advice. Be aware of scammers, doppelgangers, anybody pretending to be me. And yeah,